Hi, I'm Grace, and you're watching Disney Channel. That's stupid. Hi, I'm Grace with Troll Games, and you must be here to learn about Castles and Crusades. Castles and Crusades is a fantasy tabletop role-playing game that uses a D20-based system. It was published in 2004 by Davis Chenault and Matt Golden, and it was designed to be rules light and adaptable, promoting an environment in which the only limit is our imagination. The core mechanic of Castles and Crusades is called the siege engine. In this system, if a player wishes to take an action and a chance of failure exists, the game master, or castle keeper, will call for the player to make an attribute check. The player attempting the attribute check will roll a d20 and add their character's level, as well as any bonuses or penalties that they may have to the result. The player will then tell their castle keeper the total, as well as whether their associated stat is primary or secondary for their character. If a stat is primary, the challenge base is 12. This means that in order to pass, the player's result must be greater than or equal to 12. The challenge base for a secondary stat is 18. This number can be altered by the castle keeper depending on how easy or difficult the attempted action may be. To quickly review, a challenge base is determined by whether an attribute is primary or secondary, which sets the base of 12 or 18 respectively. A challenge level is a modifier of difficulty determined by the castle keeper, usually within plus or minus 6 of the base. These two numbers combined make up the challenge class, which is the number that the player must meet or exceed in order to succeed in their action. For example, Nick is playing Grognar, a 3rd level human fighter. Fighters have strength as a primary stat, and Grognar's strength score of 15 earns him a +1 bonus to strength checks. Grognar is attempting to break down a locked door. The door is fairly thick, so the castle keeper calls for a strength check from Grognar. In this case, Nick will roll a d20 and add both Grognar's level and strength modifier. He rolled a 13, and adds 3 from his level and 1 from his strength modifier for a total of 17. The challenge base was 12, since strength is a primary stat for Grognar. The castle keeper also determined that since the door is particularly sturdy, an additional challenge level of 4 will be added to the base for a total challenge class of 16. Because Nick had a total result of 17, exceeding the determined challenge class of 16, Grognar successfully breaks down the thick wooden door. Unfortunately, Grognar doesn't have intelligence as a primary stat. Were he to have thought a little bit more about it, he would have realized that maybe the door was locked for good reason. As Grognar bursts into the room, he is met with the fearsome gaze of a dragon, who immediately unleashes his fiery breath on the reckless intruder. Grognar must now make a dexterity check to avoid being barbecued. Since dexterity is a secondary stat for Grognar, it'll be much more difficult, with a challenge base of 18. And because this is an ancient dragon, the challenge level is 34 as determined by the creature's entry in Monsters and Treasure, for a total challenge class of 52. Grognar is instantly incinerated. His dust is swept up, mailed home, and Nick must now roll up a new character. A life lesson to take to heart. In Castles and Crusades, life is cheap. While many systems allow you to embody the veritable fantasy superhero and save the day with lots of proficiencies and world-altering magic and outrageous feats of strength, Castles and Crusades scales the experience back a little bit. Your adventurer will truly start out at the bottom when they set out on their journey, and you'll have to play smart to ensure that they live to see the end. So, sorry, power gamers, but there's no way to break CNC. But fret not. While this system is built to avoid the rampant power creep that we see in other games, you'll be rewarded for teamwork and creativity every step of the way. From all of us here at Troll Games, may your castles be sturdy, your dice favorable.
Is ageless. The dungeon imagined without end. The curious are the ones most courageous. The tree that endures has to bend. From stillness the mad mage is stirring. From countless voices the castle takes shape. Zagig will test the enduring, those unlucky will never escape.
Trollord Games, join the fray.
Shit.
I just had to ask because that was.
I shouldn't have sent it to you before the. Dude, it gets way worse.
All right, hey,
it gets way worse.
Okay, so that's interesting.
What?
I'm not in the call.
You're not on the stream.
No, you're not on the stream. Well, I'll see y'all later.
All right, Davis. Davis, we're live on audio, so we're not going to talk about that right now.
Secret project.
Are we live? We are live, everybody but Chuck.
Yeah, everybody but Chuck is live.
Okay, well, welcome to the Tuesday roundup. Since Chuck's not here, he can't.
Thursday
He's here-
roundup.
he's
He's
here in
here, but
spirit.
he's not here.
We can fix that in about 2 seconds.
All right.
Wait, who's not here, Chuck?
Brings himself.
Well,
in
Chuck's here, but he's not on stream on camera.
And my video quality is real low.
Well, your connection's extremely low. You're running red lines
Is it?
with me. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, you're not connected very strongly.
Did you know? I don't know if this is true or not, but
Did you hear me?
Brad,
Chuck? They can hear
Brad
me.
Pitt, because he wanted to become an actor, so when he was really young, to give himself a square jawline, he chewed bubble gum religiously to get all the muscles in his jaw, so he got a square jawline.
Davis, you vanished, or whatever you were talking about.
He's still in there.
No, he's there.
Come
Things
on.
are happening. Chuck's moving us all around.
King Magluke can hear everyone but Dakota.
Everybody but me.
Yeah, scream real loud.
Woo!
There, I can hear you.
Alone can hear you. What is going on now? Jeremy's got thrown out.
Jeremy's he's excellent.
Well, Jeremy was running. He was barely connected. He was on a shoestring.
Oh, okay.
On a shoestring. It's weird. My Dr. Pepper that I poured into this cup tastes like root beer. That's a sin, I think.
Oh, he comes back.
Sorry, I switched my internet. Yeah, I should be coming through a little better.
Hey, the Tropicana just got demolished in Las Vegas.
What demolished the Tropicana in Las Vegas?
Some bombs.
I'm gonna guess.
Wait, what?
What?
Oh, they blew it up. It wasn't.
Oh, okay.
That's how they tear down buildings.
No, it wasn't bombed. It was they blew it up.
Yeah. It's called controlled demolition.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, between these two horrific hurricanes, and apparently Wyoming is on fire, I wouldn't be surprised if.
Hey, now I know everyone's worried. I didn't evacuate.
I will say,
I barreled through the warm weather, the dry land.
Goodness, that category 5 downgraded to a 3.
It was 2 when it hit the short.
Yeah.
And it kind of disintegrated. But Lieutenant Dan survived. Yes, Wolf alone.
Was it?
Lieutenant Dan survived the hurricane.
Now you know that guy. This is interesting. So Lieutenant Dan, whatever, he just popped up someone, and then all those like TikTokers and people just started following and posting, and he got boomed all over the place. And that one TikToker or YouTuber promised him $100,000 and a new boat and all that kind of stuff. Now he's trying to backpedal on that.
Oh, that's just too bad because he weathered that hurricane.
He did.
Right. So let's get started. I'm Chuck Cumbo,
All right.
community director for Troll Lord Games.
I promise Troll Lord Games will give anyone $1 million who takes me to Mars.
I'm not going to make it.
Okay.
To get him to Mars? I mean, that's...
To get me to Mars, alive and back.
You'll give them $1 million. That's a hell of a deal.
Yes.
They'll spend 150 million getting you up there or whatever, probably.
Now watch, Elon Musk is watching this and like, I'm going to take him up on that shit.
We do have a giveaway going on. If you want to join the giveaway, just come over here to twitch.tv/TrollLordGames. Give us a follow. Exclamation point raffle. We're giving away some codes for the store tonight. I'm going to drop a link in the chat for you fellas that are watching from other platforms. If you want to come over, you can. And we're going to just hang out with you guys and shoot the shit and talk about whatever. I like that. Maybe if I can figure out how to work this program.
Yeah, that new Amazing Adventures PHB is really pretty.
Looks good, don't it? Very sexy.
What?
Turned out really good. The new Amazing Adventures PHB.
Yeah.
It turned out so good.
There we go.
And I like how light it is. The paper's not glossy. It's like new. It's really...
Right.
All right. So what? Okay. I'm not going to read that article.
Don't do it right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm getting it off my computer. What are we on? Oh, Twitch.
Planet Earth.
Yeah, I'm gonna go see if we can.
Not Mars.
Hey, Chuck, what are we talking about today?
Today's topic is, I put it in the chat. I don't remember.
Is it the Hermit?
Sure.
No.
That was the password to the room. That's why I asked.
Barsoom.
There it is. I got it right here. Team Troll. Here we go.
And answers.
Okay, so I have this thing about Barsoom, and everyone's can disagree with me if they want to be wrong.
Wait, Barsoom it is. That's what the topic of conversation is today.
All right.
All right.
Chuck, you didn't answer fast enough.
Well, I was putting it in the chat for everybody, but that's fine. We want to do that. It's whatever.
You know, rereading the books and then going over some research material and stuff like that. Just researching it.
Thank you.
Barsoom is a post-apocalyptic setting on Mars.
Yeah, it's very upfront about. It's very upfront about that.
Yeah. As a kid though, too, now that I'm rereading it and sort of like trying to cognize and put it back into something, right? I'm like having to digest it, right?
Well, like
so,
it talks about like it was a green Mars and they had all these super huge canals for irrigation and they ran dry and all of that.
Yeah, it's an environmental catastrophe that leads to population implosion.
Hey, wait a minute, Davis.
Yeah. What?
Let Jeremy take the floor for like 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay.
Explain briefly what Barsoom is to those people in the audience who may not know what Barsoom is.
Wait. Let's take a poll. Who doesn't know what Barsoom is?
No, we can't.
The show's only 60 minutes.
And we're all over the place.
So I'm assuming most of the people here know because you're running in these circles. Barsoom is a fantastic version of Mars as envisioned by Edgar Rice Burroughs. He was the author who created such characters as Tarzan. I think this was his first novel, either this or Tarzan of the Apes, Princess of Mars.
This is the first. Yeah.
This was his first.
Yeah.
From like 1906, 4, 8,
but
11.
Early.
It's over 100 years old. It's a very, very old. At the time, science fiction, but now kind of reclassified as like science fantasy or planetary romance. Kind of, it's an adventure world where a man called John Carter gets whisked away to the planet Mars, where he's under lower gravity and he's like a Superman, and he fights 16-foot tall, 4-armed reptile men and wins the heart of a beautiful princess and goes to war and kills a lot of people. It's a lot of fun. He kills a lot of people. I think he probably kills.
No assume.
I think the only character in fiction that probably kills more than him is Elric. He kills everyone.
That's true.
Yeah, Barsoom is incredibly violent. It is an incredibly violent setting.
Yeah,
But you have to kind of qualify that. It's not violence like Aliens with legs flying all over the place.
It's poetic violence.
It's poetic violence. That's it. He doesn't describe someone's lung getting punctured and the black blood going out across their crotch or anything. It's really just, he slays this guy.
He fell into a grim and unending doom, shit like that.
Yeah, but there's a lot of killing, a whole lot of killing. Everyone is fighting everyone. There's cannibalism. There are cults. There's slavery. It's just insane. I don't know, because I didn't cognize a lot of that as a kid, because I can remember, I can remember the way I remembered it, right? And it was just John Carter and Deja Thoris doing these great things, And now that I'm rereading it, and it's probably the third time I've reread them, that it's like, oh wow, vivisection. Oh wow, we're cutting bodies open. And
I think still the most shocking thing on my reread, I'd completely forgotten that Deja Thoris lays an egg.
Yeah.
I had completely forgotten that. I was like, what?
Yeah.
They're all ovoviviparous, I think is the term.
Yeah. Everything lays eggs. Yeah.
I just got through reading the whole series again, and I'm telling you, a lot of what I remembered was not in those books. It's a lot different when you go back and read. Like, oh shit, like the egg thing. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that you have eggs here. They're chickens, or whatever.
Well, just like that opening of that first. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say the opening of that first book, which they actually pretty faithfully recreate in the Disney movie, where he's like hiding in the cave and then he gets warped away and he's just like in this weird wasteland and he finds a big chamber with green men eggs in it. Yeah. They start hatching and screaming. He's like, "What is happening?" He leaps 40 feet in the air and he's like, "What is happening?" And then the Tharks show up and they like lasso him and he's like, "What is happening?" It's very disorienting. It's really cool.
And he's buck naked the whole time, which is hilarious.
Oh yeah, he's totally because he spawns in naked, and coincidentally, everyone on the planet is just naked, and they're not weird about it. There's not like it's not like there's nothing kind of weird about it. It's
they're just naked. The funny thing about
it's not exploitative.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Which was really interesting too on that reread, because I was thinking about, okay, everyone's naked. Maybe I didn't see this because I didn't, as a kid, see that exploitative stuff in a lot of literature, not until I was much older, right?
And I think it was primarily a science fiction, like a decision of science fiction, because he created a world that has no changes in weather. The weather's constant all the time. Yeah. It doesn't get cold at night. You don't need to wear.
Yeah.
You don't need clothes. It's a society that never needed clothes. So it's very different.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty much at war all the time.
I think the funniest part of the conversations with the ERB folks, because I asked them, I told them that we want to stay as absolutely true to Burroughs' vision as we possibly can. And then they, without me prompting anything, they wrote back and said, however, you need to put some clothes on these people. Which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah, there's that. It's funny too, because in the research, so there's a lot of research out there, and I hope, and I meant to ask you, Kent, we should ask the Burroughs estate, because I think those letters are probably public now or available.
Which letter?
Edgar Rice Burroughs letters, some of his letters to I
don't know.
To the editors and stuff like that, where they asked him to change this, change that. And when he was writing about some of this stuff, and I've been sending Kent snippets, it's like, I needed to make some money, so I wrote a book.
He was working, if I remember correctly, he was working for magazines, running these, posting or approving or whatever those crazy ads you used to get in magazines about, eat this pill.
X-ray specs and
X-ray, all of that stuff. And in the magazines that he was placing the ads in or selling the ads in, he started reading them because he was bored. And then he's like, well, I can do this. I can write this. And he just started writing.
And in his first outing, he created one of the greatest American novels of genre fiction in history.
It's absolutely nuts. His history is really interesting. He actually served in the Army in the 1890s, and he fought. The Apache Wars ended like 83 or 84, but his troop pursued some of the last of the Apaches who were holding out in the mountains in Arizona and New Mexico. And then he managed some kind of ore mine for his brother up in like Idaho or Montana or something. His litany of jobs that Burroughs had was just huge, and he failed at all of it. He got kicked out of the Army because he had a weak heart or something.
And like us, he only found success in the lowest form of work, which is writing.
Dredging the bottle.
Yeah, he had so his first book then was Warlord of Mars, right?
No, Princess of Mars.
Princess of
Mars. Was it Princess?
Okay, so
mixed up.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, foundationally, Edgar Rice Burroughs set the tone for science fiction today. All right? I mean, there's no doubt. H.G. Wells probably. If you take a look at the luminaries in the field, Asimov, he says that he attributes his writing science fiction directly to Burroughs' Princess of Mars. Heinlein, directly to Burroughs' Princess of Mars. And several directly to those books. That's the reason they got into the science fiction field. Now, Dune, what does Dune have? Desert planet, boom, Star Wars, all of them have to bow down to Edgar Rice Burroughs.
Yes and no.
No, there's no. You can say no if you want to. I don't know. I don't know what it means to embrace being wrong.
I think a lot of the certainly the aesthetic influence of like an imagined alien world that feels alien was really kind of blossomed under his writing. But I think there were people before and after him who certainly made alien worlds feel more alien, kind of realized alien cultures a little bit more strongly. I'd recommend Stanley Weinbaum in particular for that, who was kind of a contemporary of Burroughs's. And there are certain, because like, I'm not convinced Burroughs was really interested in writing biting science fiction. He was interested in writing adventure stories.
Yes,
that's true. In a science fiction wrapper, with what was at the time modern understandings of what the planet of Mars was probably like. Because at the time we kind of thought maybe there are aliens on Mars. We don't know. They believed because they saw like craters or canyons or something. They thought they were canals.
Well, and the canals look like there was civilization there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I would say that. Okay, yes. Which authors beforehand though? I mean, H.G. Wells comes to mind.
H.G. Wells.
I can't think of any beforehand.
Well, when was?
Which gets me to thinking of a fantasy author in the late 1800s who wrote a book of
Jules Verne. There's a lot of Jules Verne in the chat.
Oh yeah, I forgot Jules Verne. That's right.
Mm-hmm. He was early. And who wrote
the Thousand Leagues Under the Sea guy?
Yeah. I actually just got through watching that again on something on.
So okay, Mary Shelley is a science fiction writer.
Would you put Mary Shelley as a science fiction writer?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I think that
it was pretty cutting it because, like, at the time we had just discovered that there are like chemical and electrical impulses in the brain, and kind of taking that and springboarding it into a fantastical direction.
I think that's more of a psychological. I would dump Mary Shelley in with Dostoevsky.
Okay.
In my mind, because they're more psychological. Again, just like Burroughs was using science fiction or whatever to wrap his adventure yarns in, Mary Shelley was using that her deals to wrap psychological exploration in. I think. Wait, wasn't Frankenstein and what's the other ones? It was a contest.
It was a contest.
Oh, yeah, it was a scary story contest.
Yeah, scary story contest. Who was in that?
See, you know what's funny? Someone here in the Magloot said Shelley's designation has been argued both ways. Some consider it Gothic horror, some sci-fi. I actually, and I really, until a couple of years ago, someone mentioned it was science fiction. I've never considered Frankenstein anything other than literature. It's just a novel. I don't put it into a genre.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I don't really think of it that way. Dracula either. It's just a novel. It's before we were so obsessed with categorizing everything into some type of, battalion of like-minded things. It's just a novel. It's like reading The Mayor of Casterbridge or.
I'm with Ken. Yeah, I would agree with Ken on this. Is that I would lump those together. Now again, like I said, I throw them in with Dostoevsky and a few other authors who really plumbed the depths at that time of psychology, sort of the forerunners literarily of psychology, I would say. Anyway, that's how I see them. I don't see them as science fiction.
So let me ask a question when you're done. I want to ask a question of you and your brother.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm just blabbering.
All right. So what do you think about the statement that Edgar Allan Poe was one of the earliest science fiction writers?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't.
He wrote a story in 1800s about a guy who got in a balloon and went to the moon. Yeah.
Okay, so
I think,
which is very rudimentary compared to Burroughs.
I think we're sufficiently advanced enough that stuff like that, while it might have been kind of cutting speculative fiction at the time, is more of like a proto science fiction, where it's like these are sowing the seeds of what would become proper, speculation on more grounded technological approaches to things.
Okay, I think that maybe. Okay, so my understanding. This is just me. I don't know if I'm correct, but 99.9% of the time I am. I mean,
what?
Hey, David. Go ahead, Jeremy. I'm posting
that was too far.
No, okay. So this is how I see science fiction as it has developed. All right, and in this case, I would almost step Burroughs. I'll come back to that in a minute. Anyway, so science fiction then for me is stories about humans' interaction with technology. Okay, and it doesn't necessarily have to take place in space, nor does it necessarily have to have aliens, nor does it necessarily actually have to take place in the future, although the future is the best setting for it. How humans deal with technology and the interactions of that. Okay.
So if I wrote a story about Australopithecus africanus discovering the wheel, that would be science fiction.
Well, no, you could turn it in, like in my head, you could actually turn it into a
science fiction.
I mean, that's because discovery of the wheel, say, for example, completely, well, I don't know if it would, but let's just say discovery of something would completely change. Oh, I read something about dimorphism today. Okay, wait, this is a good piece of information. Sexual dimorphism, okay? So sexual dimorphism in humans has been reducing over thousands and tens of thousands of years. We're talking hundreds of thousands of years, okay? So our humans are becoming, male and females are becoming more and more alike, more similar. We were more dimorphic in the past. Anyway, Australopithecines weren't dimorphic or had far less dimorphism, right, between male and female, resulting in them having on average fewer babies. Okay. And that may be one of the reasons why Homo sapiens, when they arrived in Europe, they simply outbred.
What does this have to do with the wheel?
Or Barsoom, for that matter.
Or Barsoom.
Okay.
I was reading about sexual dimorphism today.
So, okay. There's a second.
For whatever reason, sexual dimorphism in Australopithecines came up today, and I was like, I got to research it.
No, it didn't come up. You brought it up. So, okay. There is a story.
Oh, God.
There's a story from the 2nd century AD. It's called A True Story, and it's about a man who goes into space and helps the Moon Warriors defeat the Sun Warriors. Would that be considered science fiction?
Okay. All right. So this is where I'm going to separate. Okay. So I'm going to ask a question, and I want to see where you fall on this, and that'll answer this question. Is Star Wars science fiction?
No.
No, it's not. It's nothing to do with science fiction. Star Wars is sword and sandal in space. Burroughs is almost sword and sandal in space. So
well, then you can't assign all of this credit to Burroughs if he's not science fiction.
Well, he laid the foundation for I
got you there, huh? I got you.
You did. But I can't think of.
He undeniably and deservedly laid a lot of foundational stuff.
Yes.
But I don't know that he has a thread to everything.
No, probably not a thread to everything. But when I think about Dune, when I was reading these things, and I'm thinking about Dune, I'm like, well, there's nothing really unique in Dune then. Because he has the cults. There's the cult of ISIS in what's the thing, which is about a charismatic leader lying to these people to make them do things that he wants them to do, right? Through secret societies, the Therns. All right, so that theme has already actually been explored.
So I'll point to one point of Dune that I think is totally unique and really kind of is a centerpiece to it. Yeah. It was written by someone who has a background in environmental ecology.
Yes.
And from the top down, it has a fully realized ecosystem that is completely logical and justifies itself.
Yes.
It manages to explain why these hyper-organisms are able to survive on a planet with no nutrients, and it's totally believable.
Yeah.
I don't know any other piece of fiction any piece of science fiction that can make that claim.
No, but did you know that? I think that okay, so going back to the Roman thing, so would the Roman thing be science fiction? I'm not certain because I haven't read it to whether I would say that it is or not. Because
it's so fantastic. He's operating under the assumptions of Roman understanding of space.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. It's like crystal spheres and crazy shit like that. So.
Oh, that's sort of cool though. Send me a link to that. I want to read it.
Yeah.
I never heard of that. No, that's sort of interesting. I don't know where this whole. It all gets sort of fuzzy.
I really think that any time that you try to create categories and you want to put everything in this specific there's not. It's just like the whole generational thing, Gen X, Millennials, Gen Z. There's this huge blurring period on about 7 years on either side of where they put those generational markers, which means just one giant wad of people. Some are dumbasses and some are not. And it's the same thing with fiction. I mean, where does this go? Where does that go? Some's very, very clear. I would have put Star Wars in science fiction, but as soon as you pose the question, think about it, it's probably, what's Jeremy been saying lately? Planetary romance. It's
planetary romance.
Probably
usually what happens is something they'll be super unique and everyone will try to categorize it and they can't. So they make up something new for it. And then everyone else throws shit into that.
That's true. Yeah. And you get into this, what is it called? Cladistics or whatever, the taxonomy of literature. And it doesn't really work. It's all blurred at the edges.
So the way that actually works, this book belongs in the category of Castles and Crusades Player's Handbook. And then there's a new category. It's called the Castles and Crusades Monsters and Treasures.
Hey, look at
that. There's a new category. We could go on for a while.
Well, and if you want to get into the traditional categories, a nonfiction book that everybody should read is The Mind of Stephen.
That is a work
of being a game master.
That is a work of pure fantasy, sir.
Had to get that one in there because I haven't spoken.
You did good to go. You did good.
This is all truth.
Planetary romance is in. Each search says planetary romance is in science fiction unless it's on Earth. It's
okay.
Very interesting. Categorizing stuff, I think, is difficult.
Because I know
a
you
little bit.
Yeah.
Not dangerous. That's not the word I'm looking for, but
Well, it's like I probably couldn't even tell you the difference between planetary romance.
I lost Jeremy, so I can't hear or see him anymore.
What? What happened?
What's happening?
Huh?
I don't know. He's strong on this end.
I can't see or hear Jeremy anymore on my
He's
end.
talking some serious mad shit about you right now too.
I'm really not.
Hey, it's okay. It's okay.
I was just saying like two different genres that are almost identical: planetary romance and Sword and Planet.
Oh, this is interesting. Willie the Rat wrote, French science fiction writer Pierre Versins argued that the Epic of Gilgamesh.
We lost Steve in the call. He just totally disappeared.
Yeah, okay. The for science fiction, the Epic of Gilgamesh would be a science fiction.
Now we've lost Jeremy. What the fuck's going on? You're next. One of us is next.
I'm not next.
Science fantasy.
Steve's back.
Anyway, I would just say that I would, and again, you're going to have all this blurring at the edges.
Got
Like
pulled to Mars.
Alien. Is aliens or aliens science fiction, or it's gothic horror, I know, set in a science fiction setting.
It's a slasher movie in space.
It's a slasher movie. So what would be what would be a good science fiction in my? You know what would be a good science fiction? Blade Runner.
Silent Running, Blade Runner.
What is that? I've never heard of that.
Silent Running is a movie from the 70s. It's a great movie.
Silent Running.
What was that? The other one, Logan's Run, science fiction. I don't know. I think there's so many subgenres. Really, they should just science fiction or fantasy, and it's one of those two.
Yeah, and then they're going to speak to everyone individually in a different way. So.
I really think they were onto something in like the 20s when they just called all that shit weird fiction, and they were done with it.
Yes.
There you go. And it's interesting if you read that stuff from the 20s. It's very different than it's way before the tropes are part of everything and the trilogies and all of that stuff. So the fiction's very weird. I mean, it's just odd. It's good stuff.
The Black Hole, yeah. The Expanse, I would say, is probably. I know, and I can't remember having read the book. I know that I read the first one because I think there's 6 Expanse books.
I've not read any of them. Just watched the series.
I would say,
which I love.
And then it was on Netflix as a show, and I would say that The Expanse is, as movies, shows, TV shows, whatever, next to Blade Runner, the best science fiction out there is The Expanse.
Well, how was the books comparative though? Are they worth reading?
Blade Runner's a bunch of crap.
What? I want to how the books. David said the book's good. I want to buy them if they're good. I haven't read them.
I honestly wasn't okay. So now I need to remember what's the first book, because I remember there's all these books that I read back then. There's the Moat in God's Eye. I don't remember who wrote that.
Oh, that's a good one. Who wrote that?
Tyler, it's worth it.
Oh, it's definitely worth it for sure.
Yeah, I'd say the first book I know because I read the first book. I know that, but I can't remember the other.
You wrote a
books.
lot of sci-fi.
Yeah, I got a pile of just like 100 sci-fi books, and it's just that's left, and it's just I would read through them so quick. Because Kent, do you remember like during the summers when we'd go down, especially to Monticello, literally we'd curl up on the couch, not together, but whatever, and just read, and just spend days just sitting there reading. I remember
where I read The Hobbit.
So, what's that book? That it has a Hildebrand cover. It came out right after Lord of the Rings got popular.
Lord of the Rings.
Farmer Giles of Ham.
No, I've got that though. What is it called? It has like a wizard in it, and he's taking these people to save the world. It's the same shtick,
Is this a movie? Or a book?
No, it's a book.
It came out after
the Belgariad.
Well, real quick, I was going to answer something for you, Davis. About
Hildebrand cover that narrows it down. Yeah, I like to.
That you asked about. There are 9.
Got a Jeff Easley cover on it. You can't miss it.
There are 9.
Got a Frank Frazetta cover on it.
There are 9 Expanse novels.
Holy! No, I haven't all read all 9 of them. I know that.
There's a 10th one that contains 9 short stories.
You would have thought they would have finished expanding by now. Come on.
It's terrible.
Man.
I wish they'd boot up the series again.
Yeah, I know. And everybody knows it was good. I mean, there's no secret. You know what I mean? Everybody knows. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe they want some price tag for it, I don't know. Because that's crazy. Because it just got better and better, the more you watch it.
You know what I didn't get into was the White Dragon and McCaffrey's Dragon books. I didn't really get into those. I couldn't.
Oh, I have one of those.
Krull.
I haven't read. Krull's a bunch of shit.
I just got through reading Sword of Shannara, and I still love that series, the first 3.
I couldn't stand that movie, Krull.
You couldn't stand Krull?
You couldn't stand Krull?
It's okay. This is. I'm sorry. Krull is high art compared to those stupid vampire movies you watch.
High art.
Mila Jovovich is in those. You can't go wrong.
Okay, so
Sword of Shannara. That's what I'm thinking of. Sword of Shannara.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I read that in one afternoon. That's what, so we were just sitting down there reading these books and going through them so quick that I bet you 90% of all those books I read, I have no memory of.
Yeah, you didn't consume it really, did you? Like fully consume it?
No, because I'm looking at these titles right now. Ursharak, I just saw that yesterday sitting over there. I don't remember. I know I read it. I don't remember what in the hell it's about.
It was a lot of reading in those days.
Yeah. But I did come across a few startlingly good books.
I'll tell you what's cheesy fun is Sword and the Sorcerer. Now that's some cheesy fun right there.
That's dog water.
That's horrible.
That's horrible.
Now I stab you with my dagger. Is that what he's something like that?
And it's got the rocket launching sword in it.
Yeah.
It's got the three-pronged
Yeah.
That's great.
The best one of all time is whatever movie it was with the guy with the hammer who just like turned that guy into mush.
Yes, there's 4 of those. They're arena movies. Those are so
Deathstalker?
Deathstalker movies.
Yeah.
Deathstalker's high art.
That's right up there next to
Deathstalker
Bone
is
Tomahawk,
That's
isn't it,
why the
Jeremy?
movie Legend and Dragon Slayer were like, and Excalibur were like, even if they have flaws, even if you don't like them, those things are like platinum compared to the crap we were getting.
Yeah. I'll say, the dragon in Dragon Slayer is so awesome, it makes up for a really boring movie.
Yeah.
Like all of those characters suck. The story's kind of dull, but that dragon is so cool.
I just remember it being cool. The whole movie was being cool.
Yeah.
But you're right. It is just kind of this kid walking across through the woods.
Yeah. It's the art guy from Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah. He was in
Forget his
it.
We've been accused of ignoring gore for some reason. I don't know why they would suggest that.
We're not talking about gore.
Gore is an interesting series of books because I bought one. I bought the first one sometime in the 70s and I read it and I was like, what the? And so I thought this can't be actually what this series is about. So I went and bought another one and it is what the series was about.
Oh yeah. Like a lot of people will be like, oh, it doesn't start out that bad. It starts out pretty intense. It starts out pretty wild.
Hey, I wanted.
It kind of gives up on any pretense of having a plot after like 5 of them. It's just like, whatever.
Manfred, the Horse Clans books were fantastic. I love those. Absolutely love those. Pure violence.
Those are sci-fi books, right? They're like,
it's one of those things. I mean, it takes place 100 years from now, but it's all swords and telepathy and shit like that. I don't know where it would. It's not really fantasy. It's not really science fiction, but I guess it's science fiction.
All I know about it is that there was a used bookstore right by where I used to live, and they would have 70 of those Horse Clan books, and they would never sell. So I assume they probably weren't very good.
All they are is it's pure violence, political violence, and military violence. And I was into that as a kid. So there's no deep plots. This guy takes his axe and slaughters all of these people. Which it's thematically, I still love that type of shit.
I've been reading.
Davis, did you want me to put that up? You want to put that link up here for the chat? You were going to say something about it or something? Or?
Oh yeah, no, sorry, I got lost in the thought there. Our friends over at Immortal Rising Comic Books is having a GoFundMe for their latest project. I meant to have them on, but I forgot. If you could put a link up to their thing.
I did.
It's in there.
All right. Anyway.
I've been reading.
What's up, Chris?
Been reading Rialto the Marvelous, which is a Jack Vance Dying Earth novel, and it's where ion stones come from, and they talk about ion stones constantly, and they're so much cooler in the book than they are in role-playing games. And role-playing games are kind of lame. In the book, they're the hearts of dead stars that are harvested from the end of the universe. These wizards, they kind of like connect to your brain, and they become part of your psyche. They're intelligent, and they're powerful wizards who have thousands of them, like clouding around, like a cloud of these stones around them, and it can kind of consume them, and they kind of drift off. It's crazy.
So
Jeremy, that always brings up a good question, though. How do you bring in, like, there's really cool concepts. So you remember that character sheet I sent you, or that character write-up from Elf Maiden Inn? You can put up a link to Elf Maiden Inn's Twitter too. She sent over that thing, the character sheet last week.
Yeah, I remember.
Great idea. And then how do you apply that into a game? It would be the same with Ion Stones, because I remember my first encounter with Ion Stones, whatever, in a game. I had never given away because I could never imagine like little bitty freaking things bubbling around your head 24/7. And then I DM'd a guy. It was my first week in college when I was DMing a guy, and he had 11 Ion Stones floating around his head. You look like a clown.
No, it's cool. No, that's cool.
A clown in my game.
No, so in the novel, the Ion Stones are extremely, extremely powerful, and it's about this group of wizards who are all arguing with each other. They can't get along at all. It's totally just this dysfunctional like group. Yeah. And whenever they start fighting with each other, they all start looking for each other's Ion Stones because they all just want each other's Ion Stones. They're almost like Silmarils. They're just going crazy for them. And they're like scrolling them away. They're creating demi-planes to hide them in. And they're like, no one will ever look in this demi-plane that I've created to hide my Ion Stones. It's almost like Looney Tunes shit. I just
said Ion Stones were in the animated Hobbit. All the stars circling Elrond's head.
Well, yeah. That's all. That novel's also where we get the time stop spell because they explain like, oh, when we cast it, we have to like.
I've got to read with people. I've never read any of it. I've tried a few times, but I haven't gotten into it.
All of the prismatic spells come from that. Time stop comes from that. Ion Stones come from that. The way spells work comes from that. Reading it kind of really, really it kind of makes clear all of these weird idiosyncrasies with the game.
He was Gary's favorite writer.
Yeah.
But here's Jeremy and I's favorite writer.
Yeah! Hell yeah!
Well, then I got some news for you guys after the stream.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it good news or bad news?
Very good.
Well, he wouldn't have brought it up. He wouldn't have brought it up in that tone.
Yeah, he wouldn't. Exactly. He knew exactly what he was doing. Dakota's got it right.
Well, yeah, because I have no dog in any of these fights, so
right.
I
it's always nice when you can just step back and.
Yeah.
I'll give you a pitch on Carl Edward Wagner's game. Imagine Conan the Barbarian.
Okay.
But he is immortal, magical, and the most evil character in the story.
Sounds pretty
That's
cool.
They're great stories. They are.
Yeah,
great stories.
They're really dark, but they're great. In the first one, like an alien rock comes to the planet, and he's like, "Oh, I can exploit this," and he creates like a death cult of frog people. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
And he's got a ring that like controls people.
I haven't read those books since years ago. I vaguely remember them, so I need to get back into that too. Probably.
They're worth revisiting. They're really, really
Sounds
great.
like
Even the short fiction, it's really hard to come by the short story stuff. But
Willie, he's got a dog, but he could use some popcorn, Phantom.
Okay, hey,
bring me more dogs and cats than I can ever.
Get it.
Who is he talking to? Is there a dog back there?
The goat.
So
I thought about it.
I took this little bitty rock and I threw it way down in the valley, as far down in the valley as I could pitch it. He's been down there for an hour looking for this rock, and he brought me the right rock back up.
Are you shitting me?
I will say that dog's
no
impressive.
Way.
Yes,
when I dog sat him, I would throw he would bring me one rock, and so I would take like a handful, like 10 of them, and I'd pitch them all out in the yard.
The ball you can throw this dog, you're throwing rocks for him.
That's all he brings to you, dude. I bought him a tennis ball.
Jeremy, he just chews them all to pieces.
Does he? Okay.
Yeah, I bought him a brand new tennis ball, and I threw it, and he brought me back a rock.
It's like how crocodiles chew on rocks.
So Ben has a great idea. Ben Adams says it would be awesome if that dog had some Ion Stones. So I'm gonna put that dog in the next adventure I write.
No,
have some damn Ion Stones.
Put him in the catalog with Ion Stones around his head.
That's a great idea.
Oh yeah. Now you have a traveling companion, get him some Iron Stones.
Because then you don't have to write anything. He's just in the catalog.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's funny.
But that's why there's rules for snatching Ion Stones from someone's head, is because you're supposed to be guarding them super carefully. And if you don't read this stuff, it just seems like really weird inclusions.
Right. I need to read them. I just could never get into Jack Fancy.
That's so good. I love it.
Well, I've got some good news as well that I can share with everybody. We are finally about to fulfill the Hermit soon, in about 3 weeks. We're gonna send out all the surveys later tonight or in the morning, and everybody can start doing their fun stuff with that. Right? I'm very excited about that because that's one down.
It won't be 3 weeks, Chuck. We've got to make the slipcases, but in the next five
yeah,
weeks.
you're right. I forgot about that.
Yep.
So 4 weeks, something like that. 5 weeks. But close enough. And then we've got AA going out the doors next week.
AA is done. I printed all of the modules, all 500 of them today and yesterday. I just got done binding. Yeah, the binder was at 10,100 books last week. It just hit 11,127 today. So I've printed a lot of books in the last week.
I told you, and that's just the tip of the iceberg.
That's just the tip. I know.
It's out of all of that.
They're all about to go out the door. All my hard work's about to go out the door in a half a second.
That's a great accomplishment, though.
It is a great accomplishment. I will say it is.
Davis, whatever you're futzing with is right next to the mic, and it's very loud.
Why did you even tell him? You're just asking for more.
I don't know.
And
silence, probably not. But if you want to do something like that, just reach out to us at product support, and we'll see if we can't get you taken care of.
I will.
Yes, we can do that.
I will also say today I finished writing at least the initial write up on all of the starter kit stuff. That's all pretty much done.
Oh, excellent.
I've got a question that I've asked a couple times but I guess I've never got an answer. Would you be opposed to like these editor proofs being like high value items that we can sell?
Yeah,
the ones that, like,
hey,
what do you mean high value? It's an editor proof.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's one of a kind. You'll never ever get one of these ever.
I think we put them in the
Dakota. I decide to make it for you.
Dakota, I've been asking for shit like that for years. Imagine putting that in the collector section. Yeah, put it in the collector section. Let someone buy it.
You know what? This sounds like a conversation you guys should have without me.
Probably so.
Well, there you go.
There's going to be a lot of that soon. I'm going to kick you to the writing table permanently.
Hey,
Codex of the Plains has to be here.
I texted Grace yesterday and said, "Hey, where's our Twitch game with the Charisma Cats?" I hadn't heard anything in 7 days because I figured it just gotten forgotten in the stuff. And she goes, "Well, we already ran our first test game. They're making their characters now. It's already well underway." And I was thinking, "That's fantastic. I had nothing to do with
that." Well, and that Dakota was talking about printing off all those books. I'm thinking to myself, I remember the days of Steve's in the print room. Don't bother him today. Just leave him alone the whole day. Leave him alone. Now it's like, hey, what's up, Daddy-O? How's it going? Hey. So lots of improvements.
I've got this knot in my back from printing all these books.
Oh, God.
It's my right arm. I put the paper in and I grab it with my right arm.
Can we get it?
He's got like a larger, he'll end up having a larger arm,
So I'm curious.
Go
ahead.
Well, I don't know. Are you about to talk about what Johnny Omaha just said?
The earphones?
No, the Print Room podcast.
No. You go
ahead.
I'm just curious what Davis is doing to cause this wind tunnel noise.
We've never known. We've always wondered.
It very well it could be me with my.
No, it's not you. The green bubble's showing up on Davis. It's definitely him.
Oh my God, help me!
Like right now?
Yeah, it sounds like you're like we're on speakerphone and you're in an airport.
That sounds like it's his. It sounds like his computer fan. What it sounds like.
Well, he's got the new mic. The new mic is built into his computer. His monitor.
For now, it is.
We gotta play with it.
Is that better?
No, that did nothing.
Well, we'll figure that out later.
Johnny, if you want to do something like that, email. Well, we'll talk. But I'll talk to you because I'm looking to do some podcast stuff for us anyway. So this sounds like a good thing.
Yes, get me a massage chair. That would be great.
Yeah, reach
out. Oh, there you go. You can be back there print. Yeah.
I'll do it. I'll do whatever you want, Johnny. Sure.
Be awesome.
Yes. More money is being spent.
Don't even get us started on the art budget. Holy crow!
Oh my God.
On what?
Hey, is Grace around?
No.
What?
Grace.
No. Is she here? No, she's not here.
No, she's not here.
She hasn't been here the whole time.
No. She just left. You missed her.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you were messing with your air conditioner or whatever. You're like,
Yeah, what is that sound then?
Dakota, go turn your air conditioner off.
it's off. I turned it off.
Oh.
It's not
Davis.
him.
It's the world of Davis.
Davis.
It's a new setting.
Because the bubble's on his camera, so it's
But
him
he's
making the
not
noise.
moving it. David, stop moving. See, he's still doing it.
Yeah. So what it is it's probably like it's not filtering out that background noise. There's settings you can go.
And you'll notice when we speak, like Dakota's talking, it stops, starts, stops, starts.
Yeah, it's not filtering out whatever background. It's just a setting that needs to be.
It's picking up the ambience of the room.
Yeah, it's picking up room ambience. It doesn't have a.
Oh,
it's not hard.
What you're talking about. Yeah.
I don't know. There's a technical term for it, but I don't know.
Johnny
It's
Omaha
called noise
says
suppression.
background noise removal is off.
You're never going to get him to find how to turn that on, though.
No.
Yeah,
Because it could
Johnny,
be several
you're
times.
You're gonna have to stand behind Davis and then eventually take over for Davis because he won't figure it out even when you're standing behind.
Yeah.
Actually,
Wait.
I can.
What?
All right.
We'll figure it out
Anyway,
later.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll do that.
So we never have decided what really is science fiction. I don't. Did we come to an agreement on that? On when the what?
We did
Everything.
not.
I think science fiction is the intersection of the human mind with technology. Is an exploration of that. That's where you explore like how humans interact with technology, the social implications, the psychological implications, and stuff like that.
Well, that means I do a science fiction every day when I bind a book.
I do
That's
a
science
science
fact. That's science fact.
And it can be mundane, I suppose.
Whenever I bind a book, I'm
Mundane?
gonna be like, man, I'm doing a science fact right
Not
now.
story worthy, but if you cut off a finger, then it becomes story worthy.
So Ben Adams Knight says,
nicked one of my fingers.
he says sci-fi is a story about science waiting to be discovered and its effect on humanity.
Yeah.
Except for
I would
science
go with
fiction that
that.
takes place in the
Pigs in
whenever I
space,
figured out-
absolutely, that is science fiction. Absolutely.
Whenever I figured out how to square back bind because it was unknown technology to Steve and Davis, I discovered it. So I just wrote a science fiction.
This is awesome. All right, any more
So
questions
what
before
would
we get out of
fantasy
here?
be? Yeah, what would fantasy be then?
anything that isn't real.
Castles and Crusades.
But is it? I would argue that it's more real than I
You're telling
would.
me elves and wizards is more real than
Yeah.
than your 401k and
I think it's all just as real, isn't it? All just
Yeah.
ethereal crap anyway.
Well, we're having two.
fantasy's-
Well, not shipping, but they're fulfilling. Yeah.
Yeah, I think fantasy is an exploration of reality in a different direction. A management of reality in a different direction.
A management of reality. I like that.
That's amazing.
I don't know that I agree with that at all, but I like how that sounds.
fantasy is
It's what is the
fantasy is
saying?
made up shit. It could be a lot of made up shit or a little made up shit. Some amount of made up shit. That's what fantasy is.
Okay, I guess some of it.
It's like that. Reminds me of what is that? The amazing people doing extraordinary things or whatever. It's the same kind of saying.
Beautiful people doing
Beautiful.
extraordinary things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I need to enjoy a TV show or a movie.
I want to sit you down and make you watch
Yeah.
my dinner with
All right.
Andre. That's
Let's
ugly
watch-
people doing.
so you're
I have
saying-
watched my
No, no, no.
dinner with Andre. Oh my God, that is so much whining. I would have just killed someone at the table.
So let me ask you a question.
So, wait. All right, ask your question.
So my question is, in regards to beautiful people and extraordinary things, where would
You're talking about me.
No, I'm asking Steve this. Where would the novel / movie? Where would the road fall into all that? Would that fall into that category? The road.
The what?
What?
The
The,
road.
the novel, The Road. Yeah, the movie.
So don't think beautiful people necessarily means someone who's sculpted beautifully, right?
Okay.
It's just someone who is uniquely presented. So the main guy in The Road, that guy is memorable, right? You look at that character and he's memorable, that type of thing. Now, that said, beauty, certainly, I do enjoy watching. Tom Cruise is a beautiful dude. Brad Pitt, beautiful dude. These people are just beautiful people. It's nice to watch them running around, blow stuff up, or whatever it is. Angelina Jolie,
right?
Suzanne Summers, or whoever.
But you're saying that you'll remember like the character there a lot more because it's the way it's presented. Like I don't remember any of the cannibals at all.
What are you doing?
No, I don't remember a lot of that stuff. But what I don't particularly care for in TVs and movies, and I'll watch some of it, but like My Dinner with Andre is actually one of the best written movies you're ever. The dialogue is.
I've never seen it.
Oh my God, the dialogue it's literally two guys at a table for an hour and 30 minutes, roughly. I think there's a little bit before.
What is it called?
Right,
I'm gonna put it down.
My Dinner with Andre.
Yeah,
okay.
You're not gonna like it.
But she might like it, which means I'll have a good time.
The 70s, it's 70s, and the whole conversation is about how man is horrible and society is falling down.
It's very like cinema verite, like kind of art
negative, the whole thing. But it is an hour and a half of two philosophers arguing about negative philosophy, and you'll want to hang your TV when you're done.
I think it's all right. I don't hate it.
It's just I can't stand when I watch. I don't really have a negative view of the world. I don't see the world darkly. So when I have to endure a movie or a book, Game of Thrones, perfect example. If you're good in the Game of Thrones, you're going to die horribly. If you're bad in the Game of Thrones, you're going to succeed. That stuff drives me absolutely nuts.
All right, we got time for one more question, then we got to do giveaways and get out of here. Davis, what book did the dog chew on? They've noticed that the dog captured a book.
Yeah, that was going on during y'all's whole conversation. I was watching it. It's pretty funny.
The Book of Familiars.
Oh shit!
Oh. There's very few of those left.
That's pretty
You see my pile of books here, right? So his little rock fell behind a pile of books and he couldn't get to it. He gets nervous, freaks out, and literally just starts chewing on anything that he can get a hold of.
Oh wow, he got it good.
Yeah, well, that's an old one too. Yeah.
Yeah, there's not many. That wasn't
not many of those left. I think I got like two here.
It's in like new condition now.
15 minutes ago. Now it's not.
All right, I'm going to stop the entries, and we're going to do the giveaways right now.
You can sell it as a play copy.
All right.
Invaluable.
Give it to Dakota. He can sell it as an editor's copy.
I can.
$500.
I sold 5.
No. We can sell it for a mic.
Hey, I'll start it back up for a second. You two hop back in real quick, and then I'll do it.
You've got a mic. All right, Chuck, give these giveaways. Let's roll out of here.
All right. You better hurry. I'm closing. I'm clicking the button.
Close it now.
I do find it very funny that you've seen My Dinner with Andre, because whenever you say beautiful people doing extraordinary things, that is the exact movie I think of as a counterpoint to that.
It's complete opposite.
Yeah.
I will watch movies that aren't that, but I generally don't enjoy them. And that one is, the dialogue on that is just great. I mean, it's good. I don't agree with the dialogue, but the dialogue itself is good.
No, it's very natural.
Oh, it's cool. Anyways, all right, so we're going to do these giveaways. So first winner for $15 code off the store is Sundance Kid 007. Just hit that link right there. Go to our Discord and hit up City and Risk, and he'll give you a code. I think you've won before, though. So congrats.
Yes, he's getting the next one. Isn't the guy from My Dinner at Andre? He's the guy from Princess Bride.
Wallace Shawn. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, and also, anyways, we're going to pick the other winner. Here we go. All right, it's going to be, let's see. Lando, Archmage, $15. Congrats, Lando. That's awesome.
If you have a movie with a lot of talking, you want someone with an interesting voice, that's a guy with an interesting voice.
I got to take this one.
Also, anyways, we're going to pick the final winner, $25.
You're interrupting our My Dinner with Andre discussion.
Here we go.
Come on.
Look.
Using jokes.
Some nerve turn in. Look at that. What's up, Mr. Bed? Congratulations. Now, I'm going to go eat my dinner while you guys discuss this movie the rest of the night. We'll leave the stream going if you want. Steve, you up for that? That'd be good, wouldn't it? All right.
We are probably the only people to discuss this film in the last 40 years.
I mean, you're probably exactly 100% right about that shit. I'm sure of it, for sure.
I guess I need to watch it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You don't need to really.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. It's a whole thing. Maybe
you could just say you watched it, and I think most people wouldn't call you on it.
That's true.
Hopefully they don't give me like a multiple choice question test about it.
Yes, Valley Girl. Yes. More.
What was Wallace Shawn bitching about? Like,
what was
I didn't study for this. Jeremy said I didn't have to.
All right, we are raiding out into Phantom, New Jersey.
We are.
Where?
We're going to see Rob Phantom. He does a bunch of CNC on Twitch and goes to cons.
Oh.
Thank you, everybody, for showing up.
Yes, thanks everybody everywhere hanging out. We really appreciate you guys. We will not be back next week unless Grace is able to do her stream on Monday night. We'll all be heading to Wisconsin for the Game Hole Con. So
yes,
Game Hole.
Yeah, so we'll see you there if you're there, and if not, we'll see you when we get back. Yeah, all right.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Take it easy, everybody.
Everybody have a good evening.
Later.
Peace.
Peace.